Hello, everyone. It's 9 a.m. CST, so the time in Chicago, and it's 4 p.m. in Central Europe and 5 p.m. here in Finland, where I am at the moment, or here I live anyway. And as for comparison, I had to put on the picture I took a few weeks back, just near where I live, and a comparison to Chicago. There's light and everything there. But yeah, it was a quite rough winter storm we had. So Finland and Chicago, they have quite similar weather sometimes. This session is, of course, all about windy winter and whiteboarding. No, we are not going to go to the board and slide down hills or anything like that. But I will be talking to you for almost 50 minutes about Microsoft Whiteboard and how you can use that in Teams and what cool things you can find there, and especially how you can work there together with other people. And people here in the Teams room or in the Teams session, please do use reactions. And if you want to say, okay, something was really cool, unfortunately there isn't the other opposite side of reactions, at least yet. And feel free to use the chat for comments. And I think this is being broadcasted to YouTube as well. So people in there, I may have to check on the comments later. But hey, everyone, welcome to the session. And let's get started. I'm not using any slides. I'm just using the whiteboard because it's really fun to be able to do the session like that. And you can see whiteboard in action. Of course, I did the slides so you can have some takeaways to take with you. And of course, if you can, please do support the Chicago Public Schools through the Children First Fund. There's a link and there's the QR code. I'm sorry you are going to be seeing this in every session today. It's an important cause, so please take your time, donate something with whatever works for you and get the public schools up and running better than they are. Everybody is struggling for resources these days. And in advance, of course, I wanted to put this slide here, improve the conference. There's already the feedback link and the QR code. And so for me, it's of course important that you fill out the speaker survey after the session. And of course, for the organizers of the conference, please do give them feedback as well, so they know what to do better next time. And big thanks to sponsors. M365 Chicago event, this event we are in, they have awesome prizes, they have resources they use, and of course they need sponsors for that. So big thank you for every sponsor there. You are helping to make these events happen. And finally, before going to the next slides, there's always lots of slides. I know Hans and some others showed this last, but I think I just get them away so people can actually see them before I rush towards the end of time. Yeah, that happens with me very often. Is that there are raffles and giveaways. So there's the raffle, partner raffle, and then these partners are giving out prizes for you for Amazon, and of course for the Xbox One and everything else. All right, my name is Vesa Nopanen. Most of the people call me Vesku, and it might be easier even in these conferences, but yeah, sometimes people get confused what's the difference between Vesa and Vesku. That's both me. I'm a principal consultant for Metaverse, modern and future work. Yeah, it's getting longer and longer, and at Sulava in Finland. And I'm also a Microsoft MVP for Office Apps and Services. If you are not in my LinkedIn network yet, please welcome. And of course, you are feel free to follow me on Twitter and posting messages or just like them or whatever. I'm also one of the organizers in Teams Nation, and the Teams Nation community conference is coming up in March. So you don't want to miss that one either. And I'm writing a blog, of course. It was earlier named myteamsday.com, but I am now calling it mymetaverseday.com. Yeah, it tells about something where this world is heading these days. And why the metaverse? And well, of course, you are now thinking what this has to do with the whiteboard. It has. But metaverse, it's about boundaryless collaboration, just as the whiteboard. We are using whiteboard to collaborate with our colleagues. And in the future, whiteboard will be boundaryless as well, but at the moment we just talk up to restrain it with boundaryless with colleagues. But in essence, Metaverse or digital fabric, Microsoft Cloud, it's connecting us together, me to you, you to me, and everybody there out there in the YouTube stream. We are connecting people, applications like Teams, Whiteboard, Dynamics, and whatever application is running there, your custom apps, to these people. Are they in real life, physical world, or virtual world? And of course, the content we work with. And there are lots of AI and there are lots of services helping to bring all these things together. And that's, in a sense, is the metaverse. Some people say the metaverse is the immersive part where you put on the headset or having something like that running in Mesh for Teams or in Outspace VR. But it's not just about that. It's about crossing these boundaries, thinking about the hybrid work as well. And going there, what's the thing about the metaverse? You can think about it, yeah, Web3 and the next level of internet or next evolution of internet. It's connecting all this together. We are going to be meeting and working together in this hybrid work. And Microsoft Teams and Whiteboard, they are already part of the metaverse because we are crossing the boundaries. If we are thinking about Teams rooms, we are thinking about people attending remotely. We are creating a hybrid meeting. And Whiteboard is there. And how I really like about the whiteboard, let's just put on some shapes here, and we can put here one Teams room, for example. Okay, we have a Teams room here, and then we put somebody using Teams into here. We are all using Teams client. We are using for example, the Teams room there. Then in the future, somebody is there with the headset in the metaverse. Yeah, it's going to be really, really cool. That was supposed to be purple because of Teams, and this should be something like blue because it's crossing boundaries, and this is Teams room. It's not gray, but let's make it a bit orange. Okay, so we have all these different rooms here working together. Well, we are working just like that. Okay, everybody is connected. What we don't have yet, of course, is this. We don't have this part because we don't have the mesh for Teams. We don't have the alt space yet. Okay, so what? It doesn't matter because what we have, let's make it something like that, is we have the Surface Hub, for example. And the Surface Hub is in that Teams room. It's on the side, for example. And people, physical people in the room can go there and start inking on the hub. Well, we know that it's been possible for years and years. And people in the other Teams rooms or in they are remote attendees using Teams. They are all seeing what's happening all the time. So that's already part of the metaverse. And once you get the immersive part, you get that whiteboard into the immersive space. Then you start thinking, okay, we have people all around the world in that space too. Whatever we do in virtual reality will reflect to the physical world. And that's why I think Whiteboard is about metaverse as well. And it's really the metaverse tool out there. But there's more. There's going to be the Microsoft Loop. And that's going to be a really interesting component. We can see it in this area here, that there's some kind of a table people are putting information in. And so they can put the information in, or I can use Teams client with the same loop component to put the information in, and it will reflect there, and it will reflect in the Surface Hub. And so you can see that, okay, I can put loop components in there, texts or tasks list, something else. That's near future, that's not yet. And the other way around, I can use Whiteboard as a loop component to add it somewhere. So we are crossing these boundaries. So it's boundaryless collaboration again with the future version of Whiteboard. And when you are inserting that whiteboard here inside the mesh for Teams, which is going to be the user interface for Microsoft Metaverse, we are seeing somewhere in this board there was something about the table, not perhaps in this picture. But that's really cool way to start thinking about, okay, what you can do with the whiteboard, and in the future you can do more. And it's good that I have these guiding arrows here. So what's the new whiteboard? I am using the whiteboard now inside a Teams meeting. I have shared that there. And these were updated in the late 2021, so just a few months ago. It was October when some things began upgrading, and during the November, there was just again some other upgrades, like some tenants have the possibility to put the whiteboard files to OneDrive. And that's a big step forward. The desktop version was also upgraded, and it created quite a havoc. There was a lot of feedback in the internet. I got huge number of comments on my blog about, especially from the education sector, and they didn't like the way several of the tools were not there. They were kind of an idea that those tools would be coming out, and lots of people were using rulers, lots of people were using something else. And eventually, just after a week or two, they rolled it back. And it was a bit funny because it looked like that, okay, you can't revert to the old version, but then everything went back. So it kind of halted the roadmap for the whiteboard. Next, kind of new features that were supposed to come during December and hopefully this month, but new desktop version should be coming in a month. And at some point of time, there will be a message center post from Whiteboard team that, well, when they tell how you can get started with the new version earlier. It might be related to the February schedule, I don't know. But I'm talking about the new whiteboard mostly in this session, and I still can use the new whiteboard because when it kind of looked at, okay, they are going to start rolling back, I removed the automatic updates from Microsoft from the store, from my Microsoft Store on my computers. So not every tenant I had were kind of reverted back to the old version. But what I really liked about this new client is that I got a consistent experience. It didn't matter if I were using the Teams whiteboard. It didn't matter if I was using the web version, Android version, iPad version, or the desktop version. Everything worked between these clients. Now the desktop version is something that's different. That's the old version, but every other tool is using the new one. It got a new fresh look. Some people like it, some people don't, but I think this is a really good one. And I couldn't emphasize it more. I had to put it to two places, of course, is that this new version is much better with mouse and keyboard than it was before. One of the things is that, okay, when I ink something here with mouse, it's kind of beautifying the ink all the time. And with Shift key, I can draw straight lines as well. So it's easy to use. I can use different kind of reactions here, place them there, and use keyboard to move them around if I want to, or Shift and arrow and resize them, or Alt arrow and even rotate them if I want to. Yeah. So you can do a lot of things with the keyboard there. You can copy paste them as well. Control C, Control V. That's why you didn't see anything, but I could just select a copy and paste using the UI, and I get it there, and then I rotate it to look a bit better. So I think that's the primary thing. We all of us, or most of us, are using the keyboard and mouse when we are working together. So it's really important that whatever we do at Whiteboard, it's supporting that. So it's not touch device only or a bit cumbersome to do with the keyboard and mouse. Okay, let's go forward. About the future. Of course, this is the loop and fluid. It's a fun thing that fluid components that were coming to Teams earlier actually were renamed, and they are called loop components. There was the other session here about loop components later on, but basically you can use them in Teams chat. So you can have something where you can work together simultaneously. And in some point of future, somehow you can also add a whiteboard to that component in the chat. Or you can put that text from the chat to the whiteboard. And it's about these components or user interface that's being used, and you can work together and co-create, co-ideate the information together, even in different clients, even dropping that for the Outlook email or into the Word. And you can see those changes because they sync all the time with different apps. And so they are reading it from single source. And that, I think that's one of the key things why the whiteboard is going to be a file in SharePoint OneDrive or in the OneDrive for now. There are other benefits of the OneDrive storage, of course. I will talk about them a bit later. And what's coming in the future, what we are really waiting a lot, each of us, is external accessing meetings. We want that. It's not there yet, not even when your file is in OneDrive or SharePoint, but it's coming up. It's been delayed and delayed and delayed. We know it's not good, but when it comes, it's going to change again this collaboration part a lot. Other thing that I'm really waiting for is this sharing a specific whiteboard to Teams meeting. Now, when you create a Teams meeting, you always have a whiteboard related to that meeting, and you cannot change that. Not even when it's a file. Trust me, I tried. So even when it's file, yeah, you could work on the otherwise, but you cannot take an existing whiteboard and put that to the meeting. But it should be coming later on. Something a lot of people wait that you could just copy paste an image directly to the whiteboard without having to save it as a file and then upload it. Yep, that's something I'm looking forward to. Locking content, that's definitely something I'm looking forward to, because even I have these as pictures, and in the old desktop version, it was possible to lock these to the background so I wouldn't accidentally move them. But now you can move them if you are not careful. And other features, there's coming up like liking notes is coming or should be coming back. And some kind of voting enhancements, exporting that content, locking the image, and locking the content from editing from others, sorting, and so on. Everything that basically was in the old client, I think that's coming back to the new version, and that's one of the reasons for this delay. People are using that a lot. Okay, going to the meetings and going a bit more to the beef perhaps here. Of course, something you should consider to be smart. Well, we always want to be smart, but we should be using the intelligent meeting lifecycle. So it means that you have some kind of pre-meeting phase, you have the meeting phase, and you have post-meeting phase. In the future, we will be working more and more asynchronously. We are busy, we have meeting fatigue, and even with Metaverse, perhaps because of the Metaverse and immersive mesh spaces, it's going to be that we are not seeing each other live all the time, and I'm not talking about in person, but seeing that we would be there present live at the same time. But instead we will be working more and more asynchronously. So that's why this is even more important. You provide information, a chance to keep feedback, comment, do updates asynchronously before you meet. Or perhaps you have a first meeting, that might be fine. You have the meeting where you set the stage, you set goals, you set what kind of things you are expecting from the project, from the planning, from the meeting. And then you provide the information, details, agenda, documents, including whiteboard. You could get the whiteboard URL, especially when they are in the OneDrive. Or even in SharePoint Bond. So you could get those whiteboards there included, so people can ideate together. They may be working synchronously or asynchronously. It doesn't matter. The same with loops. It's just happening. You need that information. And when you finally meet on the actual meeting, it can be a shorter one. It can concentrate on the decisions. It can concentrate on those topics that need conversation and so on. So you have a more smarter meeting, and you can agree, okay, these parts need more work, so you continue to work. You use the chat after the meeting even more, so it doesn't stop at the meeting. The work doesn't happen only during the meeting, it happens throughout the life cycle. And whiteboard, especially now that it's going to be in the OneDrive, it will have a longer lifespan than before. Earlier, when it was just in the Teams meeting or you created the whiteboard, it felt like I may accidentally lose this one, or I don't have a version history. Those are the things that we lacked with whiteboard earlier. So with the new storage, because it's a file, we can start using that for a longer period of time, just like any other document. So that's really important. And whiteboard is a great way to have a very low threshold of interaction with people. So it's going to be much easier for them to interact with you, because they can start typing the notes. You can add a new note. You can add some information here if you like. And it's not like a chat or opening your microphone for the large audience. It might be a bit scary. So even with large meetings, you might have a whiteboard. People can even just do some simple things like add reactions. Hey, this is a really cool thing. I want to thumb up for this. Yeah, this is the workaround until there's a good voting. And so on. It's a low threshold. And of course, you will need to provide some trainings. Make sure that you have some guides or short videos and champions network, so champions really know about the whiteboard as well. And yeah, this was the planning process example I described already. Basically, you have a vision and goals, and then collaboration documents. You have the meeting and then you might have a closing meeting, or so you might have a few cycles here. But you don't have to step out and use different meetings if you don't want to. And how do you engage people on the board? Well, it was shared with the link. Yeah, that's something we all know now. And if you before log the meeting from editing from others, then you just couldn't. Okay, that's works really well about the sharing. Okay, let's not touch that again. Earlier, it was possible to kind of lock down this one, but I can lock down the whiteboard if I want. I just go there to the file and change the permissions. It's a file. And if you are not in the new version yet, then of course you can kind of log it out, and so people don't be able to edit it until you open it. So you might have a meeting where you describe what you are expecting, what's happening, and then you unlock it so people can start editing. Encouraging, be an example. And I think that's really important. Don't be perfect because when I was starting with the whiteboard, I felt kind of a bit scared because, hey, my inking skills, they are bad. Trust me, they are bad. My handwriting is even worse. And so I just have to go there and I can use my keyboard to type things. I can use shapes here to draw on something very easily and so on. So if you are being the example, make mistakes sometimes. So and show you how you fix them, or at least if you don't have to even fix everything, because people say, okay, the point is in the content, not how you ink it. And engage people or encourage them to use the voting and make it a habit, because using the whiteboard is not very clear sometimes. You just have to keep on using that before people start to realize wow, and when they can use it better and better. And of course, that when you have winner when you basically they want to add it on their own. And something good or something important is this. And when they are engaging on the whiteboard, they are not doing something else. Earlier, when I was doing the similar session, I had this note here that you could be using this whiteboard to work with guests. And it worked for some time, but now with the recent OneDrive addition and with recent some updates, it's not working with guests currently, if your board is in OneDrive or SharePoint. And something even more about engaging people, this is something I want to highlight, is that there are good templates here in the whiteboard that you can use. And so you don't have the situation when your board is empty. And so you can go to the templates, you are starting your session, and there are even games. Perhaps it's an internal one, or perhaps it's something else. And there's where in the world you are. And you can get and put this template somewhere where you want. Okay, let's put it near where we were a moment ago, and we can zoom in. Okay, now the texts are in black. It doesn't understand my dark theme. But of course, with settings, I can go there and I can change the background if I want. Okay, now it's a whiteboard and not a blackboard. And you can see where in the world you are and start just typing in answers. These are very good conversation starter or warm up things, or perhaps you have virtual hangouts. And these templates can take you a long way, because you can, instead of that, of course, we might be just using this one, which is slightly different. Choose your favorite. Again, we have the dark theme back, but let's just change the color of these texts. Yeah, you can go ahead and edit this. These are just shapes and icons, pictures you want to put here. So you can edit this freely, and this is a shape that's on the background. So I can go ahead and do changes as I like. And these are important there because they give you a good starting point. Okay, let's just remove everything on this point. And there's a lot more of them. If you start looking that you should be going through a lot of them, you can read the descriptions so you can see okay what's in there if you don't get it already from the picture. And these are useful, quick to get you started on kind of the ideas and make things more visual. That's the big thing there. And I want to show the one so-called slide here before I go to other demo parts. It's basically OneDrive storage. As I think I mentioned that you can have the recycle bin now. You can have the version history. So you can go back if somebody makes mistakes. You can copy them. So you can take a backup of Whiteboard. And you can copy them to SharePoint folder. They don't work through Teams, but they work through SharePoint, so in the browser. And then you can start enforcing compliance and governance and security parts. And some of these new features, like this laser pointer here, I can go ahead and change the color if I want and use it. This only works if it's on the OneDrive. So that's important. But of course, I think that one of the bad things about this laser pointer is that I can use this like this. This is a really good one in presentations. But if this whiteboard is being shared to someone else, they are not seeing the laser pointer. So it's still work in progress on that part. But what they are seeing is, okay, let me just take my virtual machine if I can get the right path there. Okay, and now I can open my whiteboard application here on the side. Okay, I can see everything I was doing there already. Let's go to the same area and hide that tool. Now it's going to be a bit tricky with the mouse. Okay, let's go there and we can start seeing the collaborative cursor. So we can see where that person is and we can see what they are, where they are going to be doing something. So if I take this tool and start drawing, they can start seeing what's happening. So this is a really nice way to create that interaction. And you can see, okay, somebody's working on that table. I'm not going to go there and mess things up there. Okay, and if you are interested about some of the whiteboard blogs I have, I will keep on writing the whiteboard articles, despite the name being my metaverseday.com. You can go there and check out the things I have wrote about the new whiteboard. Okay, so something I was already showing, like formatting the background. You can use these diamonds, grids, and everything. I usually prefer a solid one, and I go with the dark board as much as possible. And the collaborative cursors are on and enhancing the inked shapes automatically. I'm really a big fan of that because it allows me to do my pour inking using the mouse, and it will convert it to something. Yeah, it's not that bad. And then we can select that, and we can use our shortcut keys with Alt arrows and Shift arrows to resize and twist it around, etc. There are shapes at that point. So that's kind of a good thing to know. And also that, okay, if you haven't checked out, you can change the width and everything, make double arrows here through these menus. And of course, the Galaxy Pen is a lot of fun. It looks good, especially when it's a thicker pen. So you can use that one. And there's the highlighter, the same thing, nothing else, laser pointer, and the eraser. And of course, the selection tool. So let's go and put some information here, whatever we want, and we can use the selection lasso. We just go through the areas what you want to select, and it will select them all, and you can copy everything and then paste everything. So you can make duplicates really easily. And so that's why I like to copy paste inside the whiteboard. I would prefer it to be from the external part as well. And of course, when you are adding reactions, that's the same thing. We can add these, we can resize them, and we can make them go around if we want to. And if we add a couple of these, you can see that you can use these layers that are there. You can send something to back or send something front, and they will remember the alignment there. They will remember their layer, so when you move things around, it will be constant. And if I add notes, let's just add a note here, text, and if I go ahead and ink here, and start moving the node, then the pinking will move with that. I think that's a really cool thing to be added. And you could add documents. This is the fun thing. I've added, I can access all my SharePoint, whatever drives I have here, and my OneDrive folder, and I can go ahead and choose my PowerPoint, and then I could go there and choose the slides. But it's not working, so don't use it. It's not working with PDF either, or at least it wasn't working a few hours ago. It will just give an error. Please reload. So we will reload the whiteboard because it's, well, yeah, it's not working there. And we can then zoom back to the location we were in. But what works is the images. So we can go ahead and add a couple more Chicago cold winter images there. And yeah, it zooms out so you can know where the new pictures are. And I can go ahead and move them around as I want to. And I can, with Control, I can do the multi-select and whatever I want to do, copy, paste, and everything. Really useful on that part. Okay, and in case you don't, I didn't mention it, or I did mention it, but in case you forgot it already, you can use the Shift key to draw the straight lines. So if you hold down the Shift with mouse, you can draw it just like with in kind of ruler, and this is really useful in here. Okay, what is the next step? Of course, using a mobile device. We can go and I can use here more for that. I have a Surface Duo, loan device, so not my own, unfortunately. And I can go ahead and reflect this screen. And I can start it and put it to full screen. And let's just make the whiteboard span the whole device screen. All right, and I can go ahead and open it, the whiteboard in here. And I can see I have everything there, and I can zoom in. This is actually really, really fast. If you think about this is mobile device, it's even faster than through that Teams virtual machine. So I can go here, take the pen, I can start do the inking part. Okay, well, let's select the pen there and put some thickness and start working there. And you don't have a Shift key here on mobile device. The trick is that you press the pen down or your finger down, depending on the device, and draw a bit, a kind of line, and then hold it for a couple of seconds. And then it will turn into a straight line drawer. Okay, that didn't work this time. Now it works. So it takes a bit of time to really learn it, and the line cannot be too long. But if I just keep on pressing it, it will convert and change to the straight line tool. So I think that's a really good way. And you can see I have everything I was using earlier. Let's go for games. Of course, we want to put that one there. And we can go and okay, I pasted it already and it's there. I can use templates if I want, just like that. Okay, so much for the mobile device, because I don't want to spend my time using a small device here when I'm talking to you, all of you. All right, what about the Webperson? Yeah, I can open the Webperson. It's just here, and yeah, we can see it. Everything we did is in there. Nothing special about that. I have all the same controls, just like in the Teams. Or if I open the whiteboard version, I can see everything there. Okay, what's new is that if you go to your OneDrive, and you go to the whiteboards, and if you start seeing the whiteboards folder there, you can have access to all these whiteboards. So we have this one, and I can go ahead and check out. Okay, I can copy link, I can manage the access, I can copy it, I can check out the version history. Hey, it's me who's been doing editing all the time. Or I can delete it and I can return it. So if I go to recycle bin, there's one earlier whiteboard I deleted, I can restore it. So that's a really big thing if you have been using this. All right, we have this one. I want to make a copy of that because if I do some mistakes there, let's just copy it to the same folder so we can see it, and we should have a copy. Just a few seconds ago it was the event 1, and I will rename it like a backup. And I can open the backup version just by clicking it. Okay, I have it in there. I go and add some brainstorming template affinity diagram there. Now, I have a kind of template whiteboard. I can copy and use it in other places, except when I create a new meeting. That's where I cannot use that, at least yet. But in other places, like I could be taking a link, pasting that to the team. I can go to the team if I want to. Let's go to the general channel and add a new whiteboard. All right. We can name it like a Chicago whiteboard. And we can add a new whiteboard into your channel. And it has the laser pointer and everything. But it's writing, storing that inside my OneDrive because I was the one creating. I can copy that whiteboard if I want to SharePoint. Let's go to platform company, and it was under general. Yeah, we can copy it there, and it's going to copy it. And if I navigate there under general, I should be seeing Chicago whiteboard, and I can click that open. It's a copy, it's not a link, but it's a copy, and I can start adding content if I want. This content is not shown here, of course, because there are different whiteboards, and I cannot add it to the channel even if I wanted. If I go to files, I can go and click that one, but there's going to be an error. It's not available. So that's why it works only through SharePoint. But you can copy that whiteboard to Teams, so you can have the Teams permissions there and people can work on it. So I think that's pretty cool there. Okay, let's go and find out where we are there. And I want to highlight those, okay, open it up, those few shortcut keys I have been using here more or less all the time, is that you can hold the shift for straight lines, and of course using that shift tool for resizing things or resizing arrows, or so I can use shift to resize and alt and arrows for rotation. So that's a really great way. You can hold down control and move it around, but you don't have to hold down control and move it around. So I guess it's going to be there at some point when control something can securely move it. I usually press down the shift key so I can just move around on the whiteboard just like before, nothing new there. And you can have these great tools. Okay, let's put it without content so we can use it to frame something. These shortcut keys like Alt W 1, 2, 3, so you can select a specific pen in there. Yeah, and you can see it's really easy to kind of hit on something else. I don't like it. So Alt W 1 I could be drawing black, W2, and we have the red one, and so on. It's not very natural combination for me, to be honest. Control Z is still the undo one, so I can at least delete what I was doing. Alt H is highlighter, which is really easy to remember, and Alt X for the eraser part. Something to note about the eraser is that it's going to be erasing those interesting. It's like it's not erasing anything today. Okay. Think something, and yeah, it's erasing everything, but it's not even changing the icon. Good bug today. So you can't edit or erase the shape, but you can delete inking, but it's going to delete the whole inking there. And you can convert things to shapes. So if I draw something like this, I can go ahead and select it. Okay, not this one there. Okay, it's too complicated there. Yes, I can start and hit it to convert to shape. So it's Alt B. Of course, this shape is not something you want to convert to. And with automatic shape conversion on, you don't usually need that one. And by the way, if you don't want that automatic conversion, you can just undo one step, so you get the original one. And Ctrl R is reloading everything if you see something funny. And these shortcut keys you can see there if you just take your mouse over and hover it. I think it's time for me to stop here soon. Thank you everyone who was there. I hope you learned something new. Please do use reactions or drop in something to chat if you like the session. And always give me feedback because it's the one way to improve myself and improve the conference as well. There's the feedback URL, and of course you can read my blog and etc. But if you want to know about something about the Metaverse more, join me on the 26th of this month, and I will be talking at the Microsoft Teams Summit, that's on European time zone, about the Metaverse and using Teams there, and Teams Nation, of course, that's something where I'm organizing the conferences. Please feel free to register in, and the call for speakers is still open if you are a speaker. Okay, David, you have your hand up, so I can allow Mike.
Thank you. That was a great presentation. Appreciate it. I had a call and unfortunately come in for a little bit of it. So if you spoke to this, I apologize. I have many clients who are in the architecture world and they love Teams and Whiteboard, but one of the things they've struggled with is they need to be able to display a PDF document and mark up on top of that. Is that capable, or is something like that coming?
If you were able to add the PDF file to the whiteboard, that worked before. So I have to point that out that it used to work, and you could be just doing the inking on top of that. It's not opening a viewer to the document, it's just creating pictures of that document here inside the whiteboard. So you will be able to kind of splash out the document to the whiteboard. That used to work with the PowerPoint as well, but there's a bug now, of course, today. But it should be working, or I hope it's going to be working soon. And so you can put the document there as pictures, and then you can mark down on top of that. Of course, they are not reflected back to the PDF, but it works for the ideation process. And if you start thinking about that, you have something there, okay, somebody's saying, okay, this part here is not the right one. And so this, so this is wrong, or just using the arrow here, and that's wrong, and that needs to be fixed. I think that's the perfect case for Whiteboard.
Okay, so there's no restriction for it to be. It has to be an Office document. It can be a third-party file, and then basically, I think what you're saying is it's just an image at that point.
Yeah, it's going to be an Office document that you can upload from OneDrive or PDF. But if you make a picture out of that, if you save it as a picture, and then it can be anything, because it's just pictures and you put them to the board and you can start working on them.
But when you pull in the PDF, if it's multiple pages, you can still scroll between the different pages. But when you want to export and save what you're working on, you're saying each one of those has to be a picture.
Yeah, it has. That's unfortunate. With PowerPoint, you can save the whole document as multiple pictures. That's how I did here. I have these slides. That's just one PowerPoint that I exported. And something I didn't show here is basically you can export the image. I can choose the end result of the whiteboard. I can now save it and upload it to the theme files, so every attendee of this conference can take the whiteboard and see what's the content. But that's kind of the end result.
So Adobe and Microsoft have a real strong relationship. And have you heard of anything that would support kind of native markup within PDFs in your circles?
Not, but having said that, I think the Microsoft Loop might be an interesting thing happening here, because in those Ignite Loop demos, there were embedded documents, there were Words and PowerPoints, and I think there were PDF as well. So that might be more kind of a native way embedding them. But I don't really know if it's that coming or not in that markup sense, but I really hope it will.
Okay.
At least in the future, we don't know. Sorry, that's a vague answer, but I don't have the information to share.
All right, thank you very much.
Okay, thank you. Any other questions? Okay, I guess it's going to be thank you, and I think it was the time for the keynote, and it was by Caruana Katimu, and it's not in this room. I think it's going to be a live event somewhere. So go ahead and check out that one. Unfortunately, I don't have the link ready here that I could start sharing. But hey, thank you everyone who was here, and enjoy the M365 Chicago, and let's see you around.